ICMP is not operating in a vacuum, not legally and also not in political terms. Rather, it is part of an international framework of institutions that aim to advance human rights and the rule of law. The principles that underpin ICMP's work, as based in a human rights framework, are well known. They're generally accepted, and they have been broadly discussed. They're based on the right to life and other fundamental guarantees. The difficulties we confront today are largely related to full implementation, to frameworks that need to be improved, on governmental participation and state responsibility in regard of the missing. And in that respect, ICMP represents a novelty, represents a new framework, a dedicated mechanism to which government have recourse in order to assure the better implementation of these fundamental guarantees. I am primarily at explaining and advancing the benefits that member states, signatory states, and states that work with ICMP can derive from the forms of cooperation that ICMP enables. That is in particular institution building efforts, it is awareness raising efforts, it is practical measures to locate the missing, all of which ultimately aim at creating more just institutions, institutions that are deserving of the public trust, and institutions that can deliver on the public trust. That entails agreement making at the level of governments, but also at the level of civil society that has to work with government institutions and demonstrates a faith or growing confidence that civil society can have in rule of law based institutions, as well as to create a better understanding on the part of public authorities for the sufferance on the part of family members of the missing, but also on the crucial detrimental effect that the missing persons issue has for society at large, including marginalized groups, many of whom do include families with missing persons. The issue of missing persons is by definition a global problem. The problem does not stop at borders, and ultimately one has to admit that we do not know where the missing are. All of that spells for the need for strong and effective cooperation between governments, cooperation with civil society and governments, as well as cooperation ultimately also with ICMP and other international mechanisms concerned with missing persons. All of this, again, spells for a need for agreement making, for commitments, for joint planning, for joint implementation, and for consensus building around the issue of the missing. ICMP over the last 3 years has concluded some 10 cooperation agreements at the international level with states, with international organizations, with NGOs and civil society organizations, and aims over the next year to broaden in each of these categories its cooperative potential and to deliver on these cooperative relationships through its technical but also policy making and legislative reform capacities.